Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining. I'm going to give it a few more minutes to have some more people kind of filter in, and then we'll get started probably a couple minutes after 1:30. And I'll let you know when we're getting ready to start. But thanks so much for being here today. I'm going to give everyone else just a couple more minutes to join, so just sit tight and we'll be getting started in just a few minutes. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to utilize the chat feature to send your questions, and either I'll answer them or one of my colleagues who's joining the meeting will as well. But sit tight, we'll be getting started in just a couple of minutes. Thanks, guys. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Let me just make sure. Okay, my video is working. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for joining. We are going to be discussing today strategies to grow your email list subscribers and reach more people. We decided to do this presentation based off of feedback that we received from our initial email marketing presentation a couple months back, which really laid the groundwork for email marketing and how to use it to help your business achieve success. If you're interested in learning more about that, if you didn't join the last one, you can go ahead and find the link to that recorded webinar on our website on our events tab, and I'll give you the link to that in just a second. So without further ado, let's get going. If I can figure out how to switch my slide. There we go. Okay, so we always want to start the presentation to remind everyone that we do these continuously. We do them once a month. So our next webinar presentation is going to be next month on November 11th, also on a Wednesday at 1:30. Justin, our social media director, is going to be discussing the fundamentals of social media advertising with you guys. If you're interested in joining, you can find the link to sign up for that on our website at webfeatcomplete.com on the events tab, or you can go to webfeatcomplete.com/webinar registration page. And that's also where you will find the link to the video of past webinars. We also like to start off with discussing a little bit some of our certifications that we hold as a team. Our team collectively has over 30 years of combined experience in the digital marketing field. We regularly attend conferences and seek to gain more certifications for us as a team because we really believe that our continued learning becomes your continued success. So we do like to point out that we have a lot of continued learning going on here within our team. I'm personally email marketing certified through HubSpot, along with a bunch of different other certifications. We want to give you the best of the best, and with digital marketing being ever growing and ever changing, it's really important to be working with a team that is focused on growing and changing as well. So before we really dive into it, I wanted to discuss the agenda just a little bit so you know what to expect. I'm going to start out with a recap of what is email marketing and how you can use it to benefit your business, and just a brief overview of the last presentation. And then we'll dive right into who are you sending your emails to, what is your email list comprised of, and from there we'll take and learn strategies for email list growth. We'll learn some strategies for email list nurturing. We'll talk about some practices that you want to stay away from, and I'll round it all out with important notes for you to remember from the presentation. And then at the end, we'll have time for questions. I said this before everyone else came in, and I also put it in the chat, but if you do have questions throughout the presentation, feel free to leave them in the chat box, and either myself or one of my colleagues will get to you and try to answer that question either during the presentation or at the end of it. So if nobody has any questions before we get started, I will dive in to what is email marketing. So email marketing is the overall act of sending a commercial message using email. So that means any kind of communication between yourself and one of your customers or one of your clients. So that's the back and forth over what changes someone wants to make to their website or what purchase they want to make from your catalog. Every email that you exchange with a potential or a current customer becomes a building block for a meaningful relationship with that customer. So you need to be of the mindset that every email that you exchange is a way of marketing your company to whoever you're talking to. So while all of that encompasses email marketing and falls under the email marketing umbrella, email marketing campaigns are a coordinated set of emails that are sent to a specific audience with an intended purpose or goal, such as filling out a form or making a purchase, excuse me. And the key word in that is goal. You go into it with some sort of goal of achieving some kind of end result, and that's kind of what makes it a campaign as opposed to just a regular email. So the whole point of email marketing campaigns, like I said, is to achieve some sort of goal. It's to get a contact form submission, or to encourage a purchase, to get people to sign up for something, or to offer them a discount code. And these are the emails that you're sending to the masses. These are the emails that you want to reach as many people as possible to achieve that goal. And that kind of ties us in and brings us into where do you get that list of people? Where do you find the masses? How do you collect those emails to send your email campaigns to? So that takes us into who are you sending your emails to? To achieve the goals that you set forth for your email campaigns, you need to be sending them to someone. Typically, if you're an established business, you probably already have this big database of emails that's all segmented out with these kinds of companies and these kinds of companies, current customers, past customers, inquiries, collaborators. Or maybe you're a smaller business that's just kind of getting started and you don't have that set database yet, but unknowingly, you do have that list of emails that you can be sending your email campaigns to. You just haven't conglomerated it into a list yet, but you do have that list of people that you can be sending it to. And like I said, those are current customers, past customers, anyone who's inquired with you, any kind of collaborators. This is your starting ground for your email marketing campaigns. So building off of that, there are really two factors that go into email list development. That's email list growth and email list nourishment. So instead of the question of who am I sending my emails to, you really should be asking, how do I grow the list that I already have to reach more people? And how do I at the same time nourish that list that I already have and make those people that I'm already able to send emails to want to continue to hear from me? So going off of that, we're going to go into strategies for email list growth, and then I'm going to round that out with strategies for email list nourishment. So I'm going to talk about each one of these strategies in turn, and I'll give you some examples for all of them, and then we'll dive into email list nurturing and how you can really nurture the list that you already have. The first strategy that we're going to talk about is gated content strategy. We'll talk about website sign-up forms. We'll talk about referrals and sharing, and then we'll talk about social media and how you can use that to amplify your efforts of growing your email list. So the first strategy that I wanted to discuss is a gated content strategy. And a gated content strategy is where you offer people something in exchange for them giving you their email. And this can be in the form of a brochure or an exclusive case study or some kind of knowledge-based guide. It can also be in the form of bonus content, and this is where you provide them with the initial free content, and then at the end you say, if you're interested in learning more, sign up for our emails and you can have access to this exclusive piece of bonus content. So let's say you have a blog, you're a hairdresser, and you have a blog on the 10 best strategies for shining your hair. And you go through your 10 strategies, and then at the end, you have a document of 5 bonus strategies that people may not be talking about. And because you went through that list of the 10, you've established credibility, you've given them the free content, and you're saying, hey, if you give me your email, I'll give you more bonus content at the end. And then the last kind of gated content strategy goes with e-commerce websites. And that's where you see the discount codes kind of deal, where it'll pop up on their website. You enter your email, you get the discount code to use while you're shopping. That's considered a gated content strategy. So before I dive into examples, I wanted to talk for a minute about some warnings about gated content. So while gated content can help you collect emails, you really do need to be aware to use it only in moderation and collaboration with ungated high quality content. You don't want all of the content on your website to be gated. You want to still be giving some content to people for free. Some other things to be aware of is that gated content landing pages may have a high bounce rate. So that's when someone goes to the landing page, sees that it's gated content, decides they don't want to give you their email, and they bounce away from the page, which can negatively impact your SEO. And then also on that note, if all of your content is gated, it could sway users away from engaging with your business. If they can't get any information from you without having to give you their email, they're less likely to want to give you their email. And then the last thing to note is to make sure that you are making the value of your gated content evident. So make it known that, like, hey, this is really important. This is going to be really helpful to you. So it's worth it to you to give me your email in exchange for this content that's going to be really, really helpful to you. And I guess the biggest takeaway that you should have from that is that gated content should be used in moderation. Again, don't put it on every single page of your website. Don't not give people the information that they need on your website just because you're trying to get their email from them. It should be used in moderation and collaboration with all the rest of the content on your website. And just keep in mind that the utmost important is the satisfaction of your customers. So while it is going to benefit your business to get emails from people, it's not going to benefit you if all the emails you're getting are from unsatisfied people, if that makes sense. So let's get into a couple of different examples about gated content. So this first example is for a free copywriting guide. And what the company did was they put all of the important information for the guide above the fold. So it's the first thing you see. It kind of draws you in. It makes you think, hey, this might be something that I would like to use. And it gives you a little bit of information about it. And then after you scroll, you see you have to enter your email to get the free ebook. And while this is really good and helpful for them to give you all the information that you need about the guide and entice you into wanting to get it, I did want to make sure that I pointed out that they do not have a verified opt-in to receive emails from them. So while you're giving them your email address, they aren't making it clear that they will be sending you marketing emails, which violates CAN spam, is not great, and it's not a great strategy. And that's something that we'll talk about a little bit later on. But just be aware that when you are offering gated content, you need to make sure that you're making it clear that you will be sending them marketing emails in exchange for the email that they give to you. And I'm seeing a question in the chat. Any chance to have a link of a recorded version of this webinar? Yes, I will be sending out the recording of this webinar after it's over. I'll take the recording and I'll put it live on YouTube and send it out to you guys in an email. So you will get that. You're welcome. Any other questions before I keep going? Okay. So the next strategy, let me move my notes over. The next strategy is, or the next example of a gated content strategy is bonus content. So this was on a blog that I found of comprehensive digital marketing strategies. And it was a really long, really in-depth, really helpful blog. And in the middle of it, as I was scrolling through, this icon came up in the middle of the blog. It wasn't a pop-up, it was actually embedded into the blog. And it says, do you want to save this guide for later? Which could be really helpful if I was in the middle of something, I found the blog, I decided I really liked it, but I didn't have time to read all of it. Or if I did read all of it and I decided that I wanted to be able to reference it later, it would be really helpful for me to have the PDF on file as opposed to having to continue to go and look up the blog online. So when I clicked on get your free PDF, this form popped up. It said my name, my email, and it had me indicate whether or not I was a marketing agency or if I manage sales or marketing, which is for their benefit to help them kind of segment me into the appropriate list to receive the appropriate emails. And then underneath get your free PDF, they have the little disclaimer that I am agreeing to their privacy policy, which while it doesn't clearly indicate that they will be sending me marketing emails, somewhere in their privacy policy, I'm sure, says that you agree to receive marketing emails by offering your email to them, which is an opt-in for them. And then the next gated content strategy, or the last example of a gated content strategy, is for e-commerce. And you've probably all been to some kind of e-commerce website where this kind of pop-up comes up. And an important thing to note about this is while you're most likely to get emails from this kind of situation because people want free things, people want discounts, you will probably see a lot of unsubscribes from this strategy. And while unsubscribes aren't great, they're not the worst thing in the world, and it's still giving you a chance to get your foot in the door and send that first email. So maybe someone unsubscribes after the first one or after the fifth one that they receive, but the likelihood that one of those people from receiving one of those emails goes and buys something anyway still helps with your ROI and all of that good stuff. So e-commerce websites really have it the easiest to gather emails from people, even if they do have a considerable amount of unsubscribes. The next strategy for email list growth is website sign-up forms. So this is where you embed a form on your website or have a form pop up on your website for people to sign up specifically to receive emails from you. You can put this form in various places on your website to encourage people to sign up for your email lists. Some of these places include the header, the footer, the About Us portfolio page, and then there's something that we call an exit strategy, which we'll get to in a minute. But first, we want to discuss the good structure of a form. So like I said, these can either be embedded into the website or they can be in a pop-up form. But as in any kind of structure, the best strategy and the best kind of structure for it is to have a captivating headline that tells people what they're signing up for, and then a brief description giving them a little bit more detail, some branded visuals and call to action to make it in line with your brand and your business, and to keep it simple. Don't make it a super long, complicated form, making them list their birth date and where they live and what their favorite color is. That's not going to be helpful to them. They want to be able to fill it out quickly and make the conversion on that form quickly. So I wanted to give you an example of a good example of a sign-up form. And while this isn't specifically to gather emails for people, this is actually to sign up for an account. I thought it was a really good example of a nice, simple, branded form that checked all the boxes that it needed to check. So like I said, it's simple, it's branded. You can see if anyone's familiar with MailChimp, it's branded specifically for MailChimp. It tells you everything you need to know about it. It has the disclaimer that says you're agreeing to their terms of use and privacy policy and all of that good stuff. And it has the nice branded call to action that's really on point with their brand. So it's really a good form, and something along these lines is going to be a good use of a form. And this is a not so great example, just because it's not super enticing. It's not really descriptive. It doesn't really tell you what you need to know. While it is very simple, which is good, it doesn't have any sort of disclaimer that says they're going to be sending you emails. You're not agreeing to receive emails from them. It's not really branded, and it doesn't give you a description of what you're getting from it. So don't oversimplify it, basically was my point of using this example. It's good to have a little bit more detail, just as long as it's not too complicated. Let me switch my notes over here. So I brought it up a few minutes ago, website exit intent pop-up forms. I always screw that up. So this is the strategy where you trigger a pop-up to come up as someone's getting ready to leave your website. So they're hovering their mouse over the exit button, or they hit the back button, or they switched pages. So the thought process kind of behind this is, even though pop-up forms can sometimes be a little bit annoying, the person was already getting ready to leave your website anyway. So why not have one last attempt to try and get their attention and put it in their face? Hey, if you want to receive more information from us, fill out this form to sign up for our email list, and we'll send you discounts or things like that. So again, while it may be perceived as a little bit annoying, they were getting ready to leave anyway. So why not have that one last chance? So on the topic of pop-up forms being a little bit annoying, I wanted to go through the pros and the cons of them and kind of discuss when it's appropriate to use a pop-up form. So the pros of pop-ups are that they do have a high conversion rate, and that they demand the attention and the focus of that person on whatever it is you exactly want them to focus on, because it pops up in their face and it has their sole attention. They do have a high return on investment because it costs so little to put up a pop-up form. And there are ways now for you to make them less intrusive than they used to be. The cons of pop-up form, again, is they can be perceived as annoying. If every single page on your website, or every time you click on someone's website, has a pop-up form, you're probably going to leave. I'm not going to deal with pop-ups every which way and all over the place. But strategically and intentionally placed, pop-up forms can have a really good effect. Another con is that they are bad for mobile if they're not done appropriately, and even then it's still kind of hard to do a pop-up. So be wary of that, because more often than not, people are using mobile for your website, and they can cause people to bounce from your website. Again, if they're on every single page, I'm going to leave the website because I'm not getting to the information that I actually want to receive. All I'm seeing is pop-ups. So if you do use them strategically and intentionally and thoughtfully, they can be very helpful. Just be careful about them. Again, don't put them on every single page, and be intentional about it. Don't make sure ultimately that what you're doing is trying to add value to the user's experience and not just trying to take from them. So moving on, our next strategy for growing your email lists is encouraging people to share your emails. By encouraging people to share emails to their network, you can ultimately, hopefully, reach that whole network of people that they have and expand your own reach. You can do these through referral programs, which is where you offer people discounts or other incentives for sharing your email with X amount of people. Or you can also do this organically by focusing on creating content that people want to share without you having to tell them. So in terms of referral programs, one good example that I always think of when I think of referral programs is a newsletter called The Daily Skim. It's a daily newsletter that gets sent to your inbox that's focused on high-level, mildly humorous representation of current events. And they have their own referral program that is focused specifically on getting other people to sign up for their emails, where they offer you access to their own Skim network, and they give you freebies like t-shirts and stickers and stuff for submitting people to sign up for their email list. And that whole strategy is focused solely on getting people to sign up for their emails. There's other referral programs out there that are focused on making a sale, get people to buy X amount of things and you get this in return, but it can also be done for email lists as well. And then the next part of that strategy is creating content that people want to share. You want to focus on making your content something that they want to share without having to be asked to share it. And then when those friends see it, maybe they want to share it to their friends, or maybe they want to subscribe to your email so that it's easier for them to receive the emails from you. And while there really isn't any cut and dry strategy to make people want to share your email content, I do have some helpful tips and some more that we'll get in later. So you want to create content that adds value to your reader's experience. And I'll talk a little bit more later on about how to go about doing that. But you really, ultimately, your focus should be, in all of the emails that you send, your focus should be on adding value to people and making sure that you're being helpful and giving them information that they want to receive from you. In line with that, you want to make sure that it's easy to share your content. They shouldn't have to jump through hoops in order to be able to share it. And what I mean by that is you want to include specific share on Facebook, share on Twitter, share with a friend buttons in your actual emails. I know our mail platform allows us to do that, and many others do as well. And you want to make sure that it's clear and attention-catching and easy for people to share the content that you're sending. And then on that note, your emails must be mobile friendly. Like I said earlier, more often than not, people are viewing your emails on mobile devices. So if they can't view your emails and if they can't see your share buttons, they're not going to share it. And if they can't see it, then their friends can't see it, and then you're not expanding your network. So you really need to focus on making sure your emails are mobile friendly. And then the last strategy for growth that we're going to talk about is using social media to generate subscriptions. And social media really is ultimately a form of amplifying the efforts that you already have in place. So you can do this organically. You can use social media organically through things like giveaways. You can say, I'm offering you a free $100 gift card if you give me your email to sign up for our email marketing list, or I'll enter you to win a free $100 gift card if you give me your email for your email marketing list. You can share your gated offers. So if you have a really great blog with a gated offer at the end, you can share that in a Facebook post to encourage people to read the blog and drive them to your gated offer to get your email. And then you can also use that as a form of Facebook and Instagram advertising as well. You can create an ad for your gated offer to amplify it and reach more people outside of your direct network to hopefully get them to want to view your gated content as well. Another way that you can do this is through things like hyperlinked end cards on YouTube videos. So at the end of YouTube videos, either direct them to your gated content or direct them to sign up for your email marketing lists, things like that. And then Pinterest is another really great way to share gated content, like with the example from earlier with the hair care products or the 10 tips to shiny your hair. You can create a graphic for it, put it on Pinterest, direct the people who click on that graphic to your blog, and at the end of the blog have the gated content and get their emails from that. So again, social media is a really great way to amplify some of the strategies that you already have in place. So now that we've talked a little bit about strategies to grow your email list, let's go back and focus some more on nurturing your email list. Like our bodies need to be nurtured with fruits and veggies, your email list needs to be nurtured and nourished. And I have a couple of tips how to do that. So the first one that I've mentioned a couple of times throughout the presentation is creating captivating content and making content that adds values to people's lives. And then the second one that we'll discuss is email re-opt-ins. So as far as creating captivating content goes, I put together some simple tips that might help guide you. And there's not really any cut and dry. You have to put this content with this photo to make this kind of people interested in you. A lot of it really goes into the first bullet point that I have, which is learning about your target audience. Engage in social listening, learn about what problems they're facing, what they're interested in, how they communicate, whom they communicate with, and what really resonates with them. And once you figure that out about your target audience, it's going to be easier for you to create content that is really going to resonate with them. And then the next strategy for that is making sure that the engaging content that you do want to share is above the fold. So that means when they open the email, it's the very first thing that they see. They don't have to scroll to get to the content that you're trying to get them to engage with. You have a very minimal amount of time for them to see your email and want to engage with what's in there. So if the content that you're really trying to drive home is a scroll down, they're less likely to engage with it. So making sure that that important content is above the fold in their email is really, really important. You also want to keep your emails pretty simple. Like I said, you have a very short window of time to catch their attention. So you want to make use of that time and make it as simple and easy to read as possible. You want to also, while doing this, maintain your brand within the email. You want them to be able to recognize as, oh, this is an email from webFEAT Complete. I know their brand. I know how they talk. I know their voice. I know what kind of images and what colors they use. So that there's some kind of recognition there, because brand recognition can really go a long way in terms of people engaging with your content. And then last but not least, you want to make sure your emails are personalized, because you are sending them to the masses, so to say. You want to still take the time to make sure people feel like you're trying to talk to them personally. So putting their name in the subject line and putting their name in the body of the email is really going to be helpful to you in order to kind of bridge that gap of connection. And then I mentioned the idea of email re-opt-ins, and this is where you offer people the opportunity to re-opt into your email, re-sign up for your email list, so to say. So this example that I found was from a company who, every time I got their email, I would just clear it out. I would delete it from my inbox. And something in their email system triggered that I wasn't opening their emails. So I got this. It says, hello, do you still want to receive my free presets? And it gives me the option to continue to receive emails from them, or it gives me the option to unsubscribe. And what this is doing is helping them ensure the health of their email list. So me not opening their emails and deleting them right away has a negative impact on their open rate. So they're trying to see if maybe something's wrong and I'm not actually receiving the emails. So I want to re-sign up for them. Or if not, they want to take me off of their email list to make sure that I'm not affecting their open rates any longer. And this can be helpful just for the overall health of your email list as a whole, to make sure that the people that you're sending emails to want to receive emails from you. And then before we dive into strategies that you should probably stay away from, I wanted to take a second to talk a little bit about canned spam. I know I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but canned spam is a law that was made to protect people from receiving unsolicited or spam emails. So this is what kind of helps protect you from getting more spam than you already do in your inbox. And some key highlights of CAN spam are you need to have honest headers and honest subject lines. So that means that you have to make it clear what you're sending to people. You can't say, I'm going to give you a free chicken sandwich if you open the email, and then not give them a link to get a free chicken sandwich. That's spammy and it's misleading and it's a violation of CAN spam. You also need to make sure that your location is evident in your email so they know where the emails are coming from, and you need to disclose if the email is an advertisement. You also need to make sure that you have a clearly defined unsubscribe button, and if they do unsubscribe from your emails, you need to quickly remove them from your list. You can't continue to send them emails after they've attempted to unsubscribe. It's a violation of CAN spam. And then it seems a little bit redundant, but you need to make sure that you're on top of following CAN spam, because violating CAN spam not only can get you in legal trouble, but it can end you up on an email blacklist. So now we'll dive into strategies to stay away from. I really only have one because it's so important and something that you really should stay away from. The biggest and most important strategy not to utilize is buying email list, which came up in the last webinar presentation. So I really wanted to take the time to discuss it. Buying an email list is essentially going to these companies, and you can Google it, something like buy email lists, and they'll say buy 1,000 emails for this amount of money, and you get that list of emails to send your marketing emails to, but none of them opted in to receiving emails from you. None of them signed up to receive emails from you, and most of them will probably mark your emails as spam. Buying email lists is a surefire way to end up on an email blacklist. And when I send out the webinar video, the recording, I'll send a link to our blog on email blacklisting. But basically it's when filters block your domain name or your IP address from getting into people's inboxes. And the more people who flag you as spam, so if you have 1,000 emails and 900 of them were emails that you bought and they all flag you as spam, that's going to trigger a blacklist filter to put you on a blacklist, which is not great and it's not good, and it's shady marketing, and just it's a strategy that you should stay away from. You can grow your list organically. It will take work and it'll take effort, but it's a better practice than buying an email list is. So that takes us into the key takeaways that I have from this presentation that I really wanted to make sure that we drive home. The first one is to be sure that you're adding value. If you're adding value, you're going to be able to grow any area in marketing. Again, it's going to take some work and it's going to take some time, but if you're adding value to your customers and to your clients and to your prospects, they're going to want to keep receiving information from you, and they're going to want to keep reading emails from you. And eventually they're going to get to that email that really hits home with them, and they're going to reach out to you and say, hey, you've added so much value to me. How else can you help me? What can I do for you to help me more? So just making that your key focus on giving value to the people that you're communicating with is going to come back to affect you positively in the end. And then the second key takeaway that I think is really important is maintaining CAN spam compliance, because this is how you're going to be able to keep emailing people. If you're doing it the right way and the legal way and the truthful way, I guess, you're going to reap the benefits of that and have good effects from maintaining the compliances that you need to maintain. And then the very last key takeaway that, again, super important, nourishing the current list that you have is just as important as adding new subscribers. While you want to reach as many people as possible and you want to grow and expand and get bigger and get better, if you're not caring about the people that you already have on your email list, then you're just going to have a continuous cycle of unsubscribes and dissatisfied people and people who don't want to receive emails from you and who are marking you as spam. So really focus not just on growing your list, but using practices that nourish your list as well. And with that, that's really all that I have for you guys. If you have any questions for me, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll hang out for a little bit to answer any questions you have. Once again, I will send this recording out to you at the end of this, probably by the end of the day. If not, very first thing tomorrow morning, you'll have the recording in your inbox as well as links to some blogs. I do like to throw up our suite of digital marketing services. We have our hands in every aspect of digital marketing: website design, SEO, blogging, email marketing, social media, PPC. We have certified experts on our team who are committed to giving you the best of the best in terms of digital marketing strategies. And if you have any questions about that, please reach out to us. Once again, our next upcoming webinar is on November 11th, a Wednesday at 1:30, and Justin is going to go through the fundamentals of social media advertising. And I will include the link to sign up for that as well in the follow-up email. And then if you're interested, feel free to follow us on social media. You can go to pretty much any social media channel and search webFEAT Complete and you'll find us. We like to share digital marketing tips and tricks and things that are going on with the company, and different little fun facts about our employees and things like that. We talk about our webinars on there to keep you informed. And those are all the direct links if you want them as well. And with that, thanks so much for joining. I hope everyone learned a little bit. And I'll send out the email to everyone hopefully this afternoon. Let me know if you have any questions as well. All right, if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the presentation. I'm going to stop sharing and stop my video. Thank you guys so much for joining. Wow, excuse me. And I hope everyone has a good rest of their day. Thanks, guys.